Hey everyone, Zane here, and I'm gonna be talking to you guys about how my guesses and predictions for this year's Critics' Choice Awards. So, I'm gonna basically be going through each category one by one, talking about like a few Gold Derby picks and my personal preferences, and also if the recent Golden Globe winners are also in or were nominated in a very similar category. That I'll also talk about that kind of differences too, because despite the whole uh, boycott screwy thing that they were doing this year, the Golden Globes do have a pretty solid track record for helping predict the future winners in like the future award shows. So like winners from the Golden Globes have often gone to Critics' Choice, SAG, DGA, WGA, PGA, and the Academy Awards. So and BAFTA too. So, let's get started. So, let's start off with Best Foreign Language Film. So far, honestly, I have not seen any of them, but from what I've heard, Drive My Car and The Worst Person in the World are probably like the ones that have been the most liked and have the most acclaim. That's kind of from what my understanding, and also according to and Gold Derby on both fronts, they kind of those two are the ones that are in the lead for the majority. Ready? And Drive My Car, which is Japan, just won the Golden Globe, even though their category is called non-English film. Probably to be more specific, but their own way. But it's fine. But doing so, that also means that and also Drive My Car is honestly the one that's in the majority of the lead. So my guess will be Drive My Car or as my number one pick, and The Worst Person in the World I guess will be my second, the runner-up. The next category on this list is Best Animated Feature. So far we have it's actually, as far as predictions goes, it's a very tough one. I mean, I've only seen two on this list. I'll get to the other ones very soon, but from my observation standpoint, looks like Encanto recently just won the Golden Globe, and is also, I think, at times has a pretty good prediction lead, along with Flea and the Mitchells versus the Machines, which I will get to that soon. Luca is also in the mix as well, so it's a bit of a this one. It's like a category where it can go either way. But I'm just gonna say in this case, I'm gonna go with Encanto as number one because it recently got that award. I think it's gonna get attract the new wave of awards, and then I'll go with Luca as my number two pick. Next category on the list is Best Comedy. So Best Comedy Feature, and this one, I might be a little bit devil's advocate on this one. I'm gonna explain why. But also, a very similar category was the Golden Globes Best Musical or Comedy, and it recently went to West Side Story. The reason, however, because majority of the nominees were musicals, so I can't really take all that into a full account. But the reason I do talk about it is that there is two of the films that were nominated in that same category are nominated for this category, which is Don't Look Up and Licorice Pizza. But back to what I said about being a little devil's advocate, or just not voting with the majority. The majority votes for Licorice Pizza, has the most votes, and I think it's Don't Look Up is probably second or third runner up for. Then there's also Barb and Star go to Vista de Mar. I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think Licorice Pizza was all that funny in order to enough to win anything worth a comedy award. It had some nice laughs once in a while, but for best comedy, I wouldn't really put it that way. I feel like if you did pick that, it would just be playing it either too safe or just too weak. Honestly, the other movie and Don't Look Up is actually funnier and a little bit better. Although it might not suit for most audiences, and also doesn't have as high of ratings compared to Licorice Pizza and the other films. That's what's going to happen when you're going to do satire and bizarre madness stuff. So that's going to happen. my official pick with this one, honestly, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna say screw it and just go with Free Guy, because honestly, that one was way more fun, was funnier, and was also more acclaimed and more fun. And I feel like honestly, I feel like if I was gonna pick a best comedy movie, I would rather give it to the one that's funny and fun at the same time. And I feel like Free Guy would be the better pick out of all that. Next category is best visual effects. This one, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But first of all, very good nominees. Seen 4 of the 5, which is good. Editors and experts majority say Dune and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I'd say the third runner-up is like No Time to Die, which makes sense because it's mostly practical and the use of visual effects is very scaled down. In opinion, I think it will be Dune, because I think it just had a very good ratio of visual effects and practical effects, and the use of visual effects was just done really well. Next, we have makeup and hairstyle, best hair and makeup. Well, I basically said the same thing. And everybody has, for the majority, the eyes of Tammy Faye are in the lead. And it's like a cross battle, and for the second or third runner-ups, it's like a cross battle between Dune and House of Gucci. I still have not seen House of Gucci, but I've seen enough clips to see a good fair amount of samples and the actor transformations. But that being said, I even saw the makeup and transformation clips from the eyes of Tammy Faye, and I think that one will be the winner. So I'm going to go with that one. Now, here is best costume design. This one's a bit of a, could go either way. Because you got a bunch going for Cruella, which, I mean, a majority of that movie is about making outfits and in a stylistic way. For that movie, I feel like if it was going to get nominated for anything, costume design is definitely the one it deserves the majority of the nominations for. And I think it's the second runner-up in compared to the lists and predictions. It's Dune is on there, and then you have West Side Story. You got all the different futuristic and past. Basically you have all these different generations, past, future, and present, and sometimes a little bit no present at all, just all past and future. It's a bit of a tough one. I'm gonna go with Cruella this time, because I think and also the amount of outfits that were in that movie, I feel like that should be what it should get. Now for best song. Off the bat, No Time to Die just won best original song at the Golden Globes, and has also been a pretty strong frontrunner for a long time. Along with King Richard. No Time to Die is a James Bond song, so it definitely works in that favor, and it was well done. And also, when it comes to the other one, Be Alive, you can't go wrong with Beyonce. But I'll go with No Time to Die as my number 1, with Be Alive number 2. And now for original score. Hans Zimmer for Dune is in the lead on every chart, and he just won the Golden Globe for best score. So, and I'd say the second runner-up is The Power of the Dog, I guess, because I like the score, to be fair. But I'm gonna definitely say Hans Zimmer for Dune is the first pick. Now we're on to best editing, or film editing. Based on the predictions and all this, we have Dune is in the majority, at least by the experts. This is their number 1 pick. Editors, it goes a little back and forth between Dune, Belfast, and West Side Story, which are all very well edited movies. It is it's hard. It is a tough one to debate which style you should go for, or which movie. Just all these different things have their own rhythm, they have their own different things that the editing does for the story. I think in this case, I'm gonna say my number 1 pick will be Dune. My second pick will be Belfast. Now we're on to production design. Basically, they from experts and editors all go for Dune, because it's its aesthetic is beautiful, and all the sets are remarkable. A lot of it done practically, and when they use visual effects, they look super real. It just it has really great scope. And I think the second rank in here is West Side Story, then Nightmare Alley, which Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with like going back in time for both those ones. I'm gonna go with Dune in this case as well, and West Side Story is my number 2 pick. Here we go. We're going for best cinematography. Everybody is predicting Dune as like the number 1 pick. Then there's a bit of a cross battle between West Side Story and The Power of the Dog, which both have very nice cinematography. I'd say honestly, Power of the Dog cinematography is better than the majority of the story. Right? So, I mean, yeah, and aesthetically it's beautiful all as well. West Side Story, it's classic and like had a lot of movement and very lovely and lit very lovely and just all around. Dune kind of has also has like a lot of like also has a lot of that stuff too, and also goes through like a lot of different elements. I'm gonna go with Dune this time. I'm then West Side Story is number 2 pick. Now we are on to best adapted screenplay. This one's a bit of a unusual one, because a lot of the main picks for like the majority are with Power of the Dog and The Lost Daughter. And there's even one or two that give Dune the number 1 pick. But if I'm being totally honest with you guys, The Power of the Dog and The Lost Daughter honestly are not ideal best screenplay picks. Or best adapted screenplay picks. Sure, they have some like things that they have some value and all these things, but from audiences and other reviewers, I also have problems with like certain things about those stories, and I'm feeling like they're buggy or they're too long or they're just pacing or not paying off as well. Well, maybe, or just not liking characters in a specific way. So this is going to be the big category another category kind of like where I voted on the opposite of the comedy, where I'm going to vote against the top picks. Because I feel that like it's just I gotta go with my gut. And my gut is going to go with Coda, but my second pick would be West Side Story. Now we're on to original screenplay. This one also has a very bit of a similar case for some parts, where a lot of like experts and editors were picking Licorice Pizza as the lead in best screenplay or original screenplay. But Belfast is like number 2 pick, and everything else is like in a bit of a in a bit of a random mix. So I'm also going to go a little bit, not go with the crowd on this one, where I'll honestly say I don't think Licorice's Pizza was that great of a screenplay, to be honest with you. It was just like lack of character development, some pacing issues, and also the whole premise of the older girl and the younger guy love thing is just like, if the roles, I'm gonna have to say it again, if the roles were reversed, this would basically be like the most controversial film of honestly the whole decade. And people are just, and you really think people should just ignore that? If it was like only like 3 years apart, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the whole 10 years thing, you guys have to, I'm sorry for the rant, but that's the first thing that after watching it is just like, you kind of have to like think about these things. So honestly, when it comes to original screenplay, I'm going to go with Belfast, because it was, despite it being like a simpler story, but it was just like a better story, better written, better characters, and just has more appeal. It's just not as problematic compared to the other screenplays, to be honest with you guys. And in terms of the original category, and the Golden Globes also just awarded Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. That's for best screenplay, which definitely deserved, and I think it deserves the rest of the wins when it comes to screenplay, at least. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Let's talk about best acting ensemble. This is a fun one, and could go either way, because like we have kind of like a big fight between Belfast and West Side Story. Those are like the big front runners for like best ensemble. It is a very tough one, because like a lot of these movies do have really good ensembles. It's just like some ensembles are even better than the movie was. It's just how it goes. Because like West Side Story has like, I'm gonna say like talk about like Belfast has like some notable actors and a few like newcomers, and West Side Story, very similar case. A bunch of some actors and actresses that are known, and a few newcomers, or ones that have been on the rise over the past few years. So it's a good mix between both of them. Yeah, I know it just goes back and forth. It makes it tough, but I'm gonna say because of the amount of the size of the ensemble, I'm gonna go with West Side Story, the big ensemble that works well with the story. I'm just gonna go West Side Story as number 1, Belfast number 2. Now for Best Young Actor / Actress. Mostly pretty straightforward. We got the majority of the predictions go for Rachel Zegler for West Side Story. Then you got Emilia Jones for Coda, and you got Jude Hill for Belfast. Are all great. So, but I think this one I'll go with Rachel's for West Side Story because like she was basically like a standout character and like in a breakout character, breakout actress. If you say they all were, but she stood out the most. For Best Supporting Actress, basically the majority of the lead is Ariana DeBose, host for West Side Story. Then you got, hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right, Katrina Balfe, or yeah, I know last names, but yeah. But I'm gonna probably say between those ones, and I'll say the third runner-up compared to the predictions is Kristen Dunst for The Power of the Dog. But I'm gonna say my pick is gonna be Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. All right, straightforward. She was fantastic, and she's just been remarkable, and not just in this role, but all the other roles that she's had over the past few years, and I think she should win. To add to that, she also just won the Golden Globe, so that increases her chance of possibly winning this award and being nominated for the other awards or shows coming up, and very likely winning them. Now for Best Supporting Actor, it's kind of a tight race or fight between Troy Koster and Cody Schmidt-Mephi for Power of the Dog, and Troy was for Coda. Then there's also I think it's like the third runner-ups are like Jamie Dornan from Belfast. Cody just won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. They're at the Golden Globes, so part of his chances are probably going to be increased right as of now, and I'll probably say that his performance in that movie was the best out of all of them, to be perfectly honest. So if any of the actors were to win, I think he would be the one that should win compared to the other ones, like just in terms of the priority system. But Troy is also outstanding and does really well. So it's a very tough race, and they're both pretty fair, kind of like getting pretty even on there. I'm honestly going to go with Troy for my number 1 pick, and then Cody as my number 2 pick. So I'll be fine with whichever one of them wins, but that'll be my pick. Now for Best Director. Everybody's picking Jane Campion for Power of the Dog. And it says always in the number 1 lead. Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. Those are like the ones that are like in the top mix. Yeah, this is a bit of a... Might also go a little bit screwy on this one, because as much as Power of the Dog was well directed, as I kind of said earlier, it's not my favorite movie of all the nominees. It's probably my least favorite one of all the nominees. He's for Best Picture in general. That's what I'm referring to. But it is well directed, so it's kind of like that weird balance. Also, Jane Campion did win the Best Director at the Golden Globes, so there's that. And if it counts for anything. Unfortunately, it's over the past, except last year, but sometimes in the past few years, sometimes the Best Director ones are not always picked by the Golden Globes all the way through. Sometimes they change. So it's like so that category is the one that tends to be modified a lot more often than compared to the other ones. In my opinion, I would go with, even though I think West Side Story is a better movie, I'm going to go with Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, because it was done really well, and also there's a lot more shots where it's more single takes compared to the other movies, or at least compared to Power of the Dog. And also Steven's won countless times, so I'll still keep Steven Spielberg as my number 2 pick for sure, but I'll say Kenneth is my number 1 pick this time, I think. And Jane, just because she still did for the most part very well, I'll put her as number 3 or so. Now we're on to Best Actress. And this one's going to be a bit of a interesting race because like the majority of the predictions go to Kirsten Stewart because she's been wrapping up all the awards lately. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen enough clips to say that she is very phenomenal. And when it comes to the Golden Globe wins, this is ones we actually don't have to rely too heavily on because like Rachel won for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, which she obviously well deserved. Just like but that one's also like compared to the other one, compared to drama, it's like the more flexible, fun one. And all the other nominees in that category are not nominated in this award show. Golden Globes gave Nicole Kidman the win rather than Kristen Stewart, which was a bit of a surprise or shock. Like, even though Nicole was great, but we were like thinking compared to like Kristen Stewart or even Jessica Chastain, it's like a very unexpected and very unusual choice. I feel like that it's just going to be a kind of like last year where it'll just be like that one actress pick, but they won't award the same actress as for the other shows. Because like last year's like all the like 4 or 5 or the Best Actress nominees last year they each won in different in different award shows. It was like very screwy, and it was kind of screwy and a little bit confusing and a little disappointing at times. But I think this one I think it's just going to be, this will be the one where they'll be the unusual pick, and then the rest will be like more, I think will be Kristen Stewart, which will be my number 1 pick. And I'll go with Jessica Chastain as my number 2. Other predictions keep saying Olivia Colman for number 2, but honestly, I wouldn't pick her as number 2. I'd rather Nicole Kidman win over Olivia Colman for sure. Now on to Best Actor. And like the majority of the predictions predict Will Smith for King Richard as the lead, and he just won the Best Actor in a drama Golden Globe for that. And based on the clips I've seen, he's phenomenal, and I think and definitely deserves all those nominations. And I think the second runner-up is also the other Golden Globe winner, Andrew Garfield, for Tick, Tick, Boom. It's a bit of a tough fight between them, but it's fair to say that they are both the leading frontrunners for Best Actor, especially in this category and hopefully get nominated in all the other award shows coming up. They ranked like Benedict Cumberbatch for like number 3 for the most part, for like if we were gonna have to do a number 3, but which is fair, I guess. Like, I definitely don't, because I agree, he was good, but he wasn't like winning good, I guess. So I agree with like being number 3. So I'm gonna pick Will Smith as my number 1 pick, Andrew Garfield number 2, and then Benedict Cumberbatch number 3. Now the big one, Best Picture. This one is a doozy because like I said earlier, it was like Golden Globe for musical or comedy went to West Side Story, and then drama went to Power of the Dog. And Power of the Dog is like in the lead for like everyone for one reason or the other. Then I think West Side Story and Belfast are the number 2/3 picks. From the looks of it, Licorice Pizza is number 4. Really? Come on, guys. Use your brains. Which I will come back to that in a second. The thing is, like, I feel like the definition of Best Picture has just evolved so much, where it's like people are just going with the crowd. They're just like only blindly following certain predictions just because it's like stylistic or they feel like it's different. But unfortunately, just because it's stylistic and different does not mean it's good enough to be Best Picture. You see? Because Best Picture should be like influential. It should inspire. It shouldn't like make us. It shouldn't make us be like, oh, let's get this over with. We don't. It's like, we don't want this to be like, oh, come on, you could have done better than that. You don't want. You see, we don't. You see, it's just all these different things. Like, because like, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Power of the Dog and Licorice Pizza versus like Tick, Tick, Boom. Tick, Tick, Boom is more inspirational and just a better movie, in my opinion. A better story and just like kind of also better characters too. To be honest with you. And also, yeah, it's just like the top, and yeah, Power Dog and Licorice Pizza are above that one, and honestly, they're not. Those movies are not inspiring at all, in my opinion. They just don't. To me, they don't scream Best Picture, and I don't know why they keep listing them to be Best Picture, but it's just how but people are. But yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna make my official picks. I'm honestly gonna go with Belfast for Best Picture. Would be and West Side Story #2. Those are the two that I think should actually be the Best Picture winners for the rest of the awards shows. And if I had to pick #3, Coda. #4, Tick Tick Boom. See, those honestly are better than the ones that are like the very, very top picks in my opinion. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, that's my opinion, and hopefully the voters will come to their senses. Yeah, Tick Tick Boom reference, and just think about like which movies really do deserve to be nominated for Best Picture, and do they really want this movie to be deemed Best Picture. Once they crown this movie as Best Picture, this is basically the movie that they're going to share all around through the industry, all around the world, and to our kids in the future, and how things are going in future generations, and say this was Best Picture, and you ideally want them to be influenced and inspired by it, right? And hopefully not think of it as a screwy waste of 2 hours. We don't want that. So thank you guys for watching my picks, opinions, and observations on all this. And yeah, Critics' Choice Awards. I look forward to seeing it, and good luck. And that goes to everyone, including the nominees. I wish you all the best of luck. Take care.